Chapter 6. I was tense, at least as much as a slab of wood could be. I'd waited all morning for Tana to recognize me, to acknowledge the conversation we'd had in her dream. Aside from a few pensive, darting glances at my back, she studiously ignored me and moved around the apartment more quietly than usual this morning. So relaxing. I'm glad you approve. As late afternoon began to dim the sky, Tana grabbed her keys and purse, hesitating only a moment when she grabbed the door's inner knob to let herself out. Stop being dumb. Weird dreams happen. Tana gave herself a side order of aggravated sighing with the theoretical pep talk, slipping out into the vestibule and engaging my lock behind her. It was Thursday. I realized grocery shopping day. A pang of sorrow coursed through me at the idea Tana was avoiding me. At least as much as someone could avoid their own front door. A few minutes later, an annoying shrill bark at Mrs. Scrimshaw's Chihuahua, Christopher Thomas, echoed off the concrete walls of the vestibule. The incontinent little demon was blind, half-deaf, and mostly bald, but unfortunately, he could bark endlessly. A murmur of voices grew louder as the speakers moved closer to Tana's apartment. Thank you. There was a weird air bubble in my chest, sorry. Thank you so much, Randall. Oh, I'm sorry. Christopher Thomas. That context is weird. Oh, I'm sorry. Christopher Thomas can't seem to get enough of your, company. Mrs. Scrimshaw, there's a tongue twister, jiggled the leash in her hand, one attached to the collar of the ferociously humping Chihuahua, making frantic love to Randall's ankle. Randall scowled, lifting his leg and shaking it to dislodge the dedicated hellhound. I was pleased to see a small spot of urine darkening Randall's vacant pant leg. Yeah, it's fine, Mrs. Scrimshaw. It was a spare light bulb. I got plenty. I gotta get going, though. I have to fix Mrs. Vent's oven. Have a good night. Randall quickly closed the distance to me, brandishing that same strange key with the furtive look. That's a new one. Furtive look at the parking lot beyond. He waited long moments for Mrs. Scrimshaw to vanish around the corner before he twisted my outer knob with savage force, shouldering his way into Tana's empty apartment. Randall's movements were jerky and tense as he slammed me close in his wake and rooted in his pockets, coming up with a dirty pill bottle clutched in his hand. He yanked open Tana's refrigerator with the same amount of unnecessary force he'd used on me, grabbing Tana's favorite expensive orange juice. No way. As I watched in horror, Randall emptied the entire pill bottle into the juice, recapping it and giving it a vigorous shake before setting it back in the fridge. The slimy son of a bitch was poisoning Tana, and there wasn't anything I could do about it. What the hell, Bosco? My word gets tense. Something's blocked. I can't read all of that. I gotta move. My wood gets tense. It's normal. Torn between wanting Tana to come home early and fearing what would happen if she did, I watched silently, radiating rage, as Randall scooped another pair of panties from Tana's hamper, excitedly rubbing the purple satin between his fingers. Randall quickly shoved his stolen bounty into a coat pocket, swiping a dirty sleeve across his nose sniffing loudly as he yanked me open again. Moments after, my disturbed locked tumblers settled back in place, tanned around into the vestibule corner, thumbs tapping away at her phone, arm laden with grocery bags. Randall gave a quick, panicked look around before striding resolutely in her direction, his shoulder accidentally on purpose bumping hers, sending one of her bags crashing to the ground. "Oh, Tana, I'm so sorry. I was on my way back from Mrs. Scrimshaw's, and I wasn't watching where I was going. Her oven was broken again." He chuckled humorously, picking up the fallen bag and handing it back over. It was all I could do to not vibrate with rage in my frame. Can he do that? Sorry. I didn't want Randall close to Tana. Not handling her things, not talking to her, not even looking at her. Tana, at least, seemed more hesitant than usual with Randall, accepting the bag from him but taking a step backward, her smile forced. Maybe she'd listen to me after all. "No harm done. Thanks for the help, and good luck with the oven. I have a friend coming over soon. Gotta get dinner started." She brushed past the superintendent. Oh, good. Just getting an update on our wonderful muffin. I'll go in detail on that a little bit. Where were we? She has to get dinner. She brushed past the superintendent uncharacteristically, fumbling with her keys, and closing me with more force than she usually did. Dropping the bags on the counter, Tana closed her eyes, muttering to herself, before finally dragging over a stool from her breakfast bar and tilting it under my doorknob. Excuse me. While I would much rather... Wow, my eyes just went darting off for a second. While I would much rather have had her soft hands, or more, on my knob, I was relieved she seemed to be taking my warnings seriously. As she moved back from the kitchen area, her foot slid lightly on something crumpled on the carpet. Her underwear. The slip of the purple satin must have slid out of Randall's pocket in his hasty exit. I'd been so busy watching the outer hallway that I hadn't noticed it. But Tana's wide-eyed shock told me she certainly had. She gripped the fabric tightly, eyes darting down the hallway to her distant bedroom hamper, then back to me, then down the lock plate beneath my knob, securing it with this tilted stool. Yeah, grab that knob. Things are getting tense here. She growled with frustration, stomping to the bedroom and tossing the underwear back in the hamper, heading to the kitchen to pour herself a glass of wine. With a huff, she stormed over to the couch and plunked down, slipping her wine sullenly. Even furious, Tana was beautiful, and I couldn't miss the way her tongue darted out to catch a few sloshed drops of wine off her hand. If I hadn't already been made of wood, I'd be stiff as a board at the sight. There you go, chat. When the large glass had been drained half-hour later, she sighed audibly, pushing up off the couch, and gathering her robe around herself. I can't believe I'm even considering this. I've got to be out of my fucking mind. Her eyes drifted down the hall again, lingering to the edge of her hamper. But, I mean, it can't hurt anything, right? I mean, women fuck cucumbers and bedposts and balloons and shit. This isn't that weird, right? Setting down her wine glass on the coffee table, she rolled her shoulders, bit her lips, and nodded once, firmly, before heading to the kitchen and fingering open the undersink cabinets. When she popped back into view with a clean rag and a bottle of disinfectant cleaner, I could hardly believe my luck. Was she really going to? Chapter 7. No breaking the fourth wall. Hey, the book breaks the fourth wall. Oh, and we've been having some issues with Muffin. He has not been maintaining weight, and so Hotaro was giving me an update that the food that we got him he's taking to it well. All right. Before we do that, I'm going to drink some of my Gatorade. All right. Chapter 7. Tana let out a shuddered breath, her eyes settling on me cautiously. Okay, well, I'm just going to clean and see what happens. Jesus Christ, am I seriously talking to a door? Girl, you do not explain yourself to inanimate objects. This is insane. You're officially nuts. At her own declaration, she burst into a fit of wine-tingled giggles, laughing until her cheeks bloomed pink as she gasped for breath, sliding the stool away. Surprising me, she lurched forward and squeezed the trigger on the bottle, suddenly dousing my knob in a mist of cool, tingling liquid that made me groan inwardly with pleasure at the sensation. What the hell is Kindle doing with the underlining here? This is weird. Wrapping around my brass protrusion in a soft cloth and firm grip, she started polishing my knob with slow, soothing strokes this is where we're going, that stirred something deep in my wood. Her features were soft and sensual as she concentrated on her work, her thumb slipping over my raised lock ridge through I almost said shin, through a thin barrier of the cloth. Almost teasingly, I watched her lips parted softly, her forearm muscles flexing as she twisted her grip slowly, methodically, an erotic echo of what I wanted her to do in a dream. Long moments later, Tana leaned back to survey her work. Taking another step back, her gaze trailed up from my threshold with a frown. Okay, well, if I'm gonna do something crazy and stupid, I'd rather keep it between us and not bring the ER into things. Tana stared at me for a long, pensive moment, then spun around, making her way to the bedroom. She seemed redeemed. Ah, yes. I lost my space. Son of a bitch. I looked over at chat and lost my place. Tana stared at me for a long time. Then she spun around, making her way to her bedroom. When she reemerged, she was fully, gloriously nude. I was so transfixed at the sight. It took me a moment to notice she was clutching a few things in her hands. She nibbled at her bottom lip, eyes shyly avoiding me as she laid down the items down carefully on a small entryway table. A bottle of some kind of clear liquid, a small, shiny gold square with perforated edges. Her shivering blue vibrator, which currently lay still. Right, okay, Well, I'm either about to get more kinky than ever I thought I could, or I'm kissing not a frog with not my lips and breaking some kind of weird curse. She took a shaking breath, grabbed the shiny square, bringing it to her mouth, tearing it open with her teeth while her eyes stayed fixed on my knob. It feels weird to be talking to you, but I mean, I'd rather you know what's up. I'm taking your cameo in my recurring nightmare as consistent, but if I'm wrong, I don't know, like, jiggle your frame or something. She snorted a laugh, pinching the bridge of her nose with her free hand under her glasses, and then staring up at the ceiling. I've definitely fucking lost it. Oh well. I'll make a good try in group therapy when they toss me in the asylum. Welcome, Holy Ozone. Oh, I didn't realize how many people we got. Welcome, Casey. It is her fault. I wish this would not. There we go. You reading one of your books? I am. Hang on a sec. Phlegm builds up in my throat. I was stunned and unbelievably excited. While I could occasionally make very small movements in moments of heightened emotion, I took care to not jiggle in my frame, as it would have sent the wrong message. I wanted this. I definitely wanted this. Popcorn, stop doing that. The shiny square fluttered to the floor, and some sort of long, slippery-looking translucent sock hung in Tana's fingertips. She stooped down, a look of concentration on her face as she gathered up the length, as I'd seen her gather up hosiery while getting dressed, slipping it over my knob with gentle, easy tugs. It's not what I think you're gonna... I have to read that carefully. It's not that I think you're gonna knock me up with this little, trapdoors or something. It's that I only trust Lysol as much as doorknobs are, germ magnets. No offense. Hopefully that doesn't fuck up with the mojo. But I don't need to explain a UTI from this. Once she'd encased me, she stood in her glorious nudity, hands on her hips, examining her handiwork on my knob. Her brow furrowed as she took in the height, eyes drifting up and down several times. Right, well, Moments later, she hauled the oversized ottoman over from the couch area, shoving it up against my base with a crushing thud. She nodded with a smug expression, reaching over for the small bottle she'd brought from the bedroom, opening the top with a click. Cool dripping moisture cascaded down my knob. The strange covering still allowing the temperature to bleed through. Once again, Tana's hand enfolded... The fuck? Enfolded my prominent sphere. The phrasing throws me off sometimes. My English is not that good. Twisting around without engaging the lock. It felt incredibly pleasurable. So much better than fleeting turns of entering or exiting. I agree, Holy Onzo. Casey, what you are hearing is Helena's little birthday wish. Okay. Tana climbed up top the second rectangular ottoman, stretching out on her back and bracing her bare feet against my back as she twisted the bottom of her vibrator. Justifications are annoying. She began to slide the tapered tip of the toy into herself, watching me with a half-lidded, sultry expression as I watched back in hungry fascination. Flashing a grin as if she knew she was being observed, she ran the silky sole of her foot down the edge of my frame, as more of the blue length glided into her. You know, maybe there's something to this. It's kind of nice calling all the shots. The soft hum of the toy grew louder, then softer, as she worked up the slow rhythm, her eyes sliding closed with a moan. Why is this hot? This really, shouldn't be hot. Her ass raised a few inches off the cushion, chasing sensation with a soft grip. She sat up abruptly, leaving the vibrator to hum and shiver on the ottoman's surface as she smoothly flipped to rest on all fours, her ass now facing me, and my glistening waiting knob. I'm taking a pause because I need to see what I read. One of my friends reads a blog that someone reads ridiculous novels. Okay. Good thing this channel isn't monetized. Yet. Look at the sub count. It's a yet. Dropping her chest and cheek down to rest on the soft fabric. She tensed at the first cold kiss of my lubricated, wrapped doorknob against her. Hot cunt. Okay, now we're getting into it. Digging her fingers into the edge of the ottoman for leverage. Tana held her breath, rocking back, slowly impaling herself on her front door. Oh God, it's so big. I don't know if I can. She fumbled, patting under her for the still humming vibrator, resting on a shoulder to bring it up to her clit with a groan. Her body relaxed at the additional sensation, knees shifting to press her fully onto my knob, giving a startled gasp fully into her. Oh, holy shit, that's weird. Big, too. Nice, but... okay. Oh, God. Yes. Yes. I'm not yelling this, by the way. Not in this location. Her hips tilted at just the right angle, sending the rounded edge to my thick knob bumping up against something sensitive inside her. She gushed around with a kneeing cry, tightening and fluttering in a hardgasm that left lube and arousal coursing down her thigh. What the fuck is that word? Rivulets? That's a new word. Tana choked a scream of pleasure into the upholstery below, darkened with saliva like the walls around her knees had already. The fuck? Tana choked a scream of pleasure into the upholstery below her, darkened with a saliva like the walls around her knees already were with pleasure. That was difficult to say. After long moments, she clumsily rose up on her hands, leaning away from me with a slight wince over her shoulder as she slid away. A lurid, wet pop of the sound accompanied our parting, and she rolled on her back to smile lazily up at me, her voice husky with satisfaction. Well, looks like I'm just Kinky, you're still a door. Damn. I'm way more kinky than I thought I was. God, that was good, though. Screw it. I'm gonna eat more of those fucking popsicles before bed, she snickered, sliding off the ottoman and stumbling down the hall with a blissful expression. Whose birthday? Hang on. Whose birthday? I'm looking. What did I miss? Happy birthday to whoever it was. Oh, is this just okay. Oh, Slanesh's birthday. Well, happy birthday, Slanesh. I did not. Well, welcome, Slanesh. You can enjoy this as well. Okay. Halfway to the small room with the shower, she spun around and made her way back to me, pressing a kiss below my peephole. Sorry. Don't mean to, bang and run. Hope it was good for you, too. Now I need a shower. She laughed loudly at herself, patting my frame and heading back down the doorway. Also, welcome, Sonia. Yes, this is what you all tuned in for. Exactly. Chapter 8. I watched Tana's beautiful naked ass sway as she walked away and closed the smaller door behind her. Confused by her demeanor, she treated what we'd done like a joke. Could she not feel me? Didn't the visitor tell me that all we needed to do... I need to reread that. Didn't the visitor tell me that all we needed to do what we'd just done in order to... Oh. Pleasure raced away from the edges of my perception, as my field of vision sank without conscious thought. All manner of sensations I'd easily ignored before demanding my attention at once. Light that stung my eyes, the wisp of a breeze at my back, an odd feeling of being too cold. I drew myself up, immediately recognizing the strange, unsteady support from my shared dream with Tana. A glance down confirmed it. Human hands turned back and forth under my curious new eyes. I widened my fingers in wonder and wiggled bare toes on the carpet below, raising a brow at the freshly thawed, still very thick tube of flesh that replaced my knob. A cough of alarm and rapid scuttling behind caused me to glance over my now human shoulder. Oh, goodness gracious. Come here, Christopher Thomas. I don't know what on earth possessed that girl to a quick look around confirmed that floral dress decked Mrs. Scrimshaw had gathered up her mangy little chihuahua. I smirked as she scurried away as fast as she has heard. Why the justification? Fuck! Reading is hard, people. She scurried away as fast as her orthopedic sneakers could take her out. What? I don't know what the fuck that word is. The doorway around me was entirely empty now, my new form apparently taking shape in place of my old sturdy wooden self. I dug my new fingers into the feathery brown mop at the top of my head. An instinctual gesture of my frustration mimicked from what I'd watched in movies and shows. How can I possibly protect Tana now? Despite my hopes my change of form would make me a better protector, I felt so fragile. I barely touched the door frame with an unexpected touch of wistfulness when a startled shriek snapped my attention back to the apartment's interior hallway. A towel-wrapped Tana stared at me with a slack-jawed expression. Was that a spatula? Was that a spatula clutched in her hand like a weapon? You! Get out of here! I'll call the fucking cops. Both Tana and I glanced at where her cell lay on the coffee table, well outside of her reach. Before meeting again in our mid-apartment standoff, she huffed in annoyance and brandished a spatula, threatening at me again. Also, where the fuck is my door? I coughed, clearing my throat as the scratchy syllables seemed to tumble out reluctantly. My voice sounded strange and deep to my newly formed ears. All of this was going to take a lot of getting used to. Everything was just too freshy. I'm right here, Tana. She pointed with a spatula, her eyes darting between my body and the open receptacle of the space behind me. What? No, that's impossible. Is this some kind of prank? Because it's not fun. Her gaze dropped to my waist, and the spatula clattered to the hallway door as she clapped a hand over her mouth. I furrowed her gaze down to find her strange sock from earlier hanging off of the thick protruding rod of flesh between my legs. I gently tugged the cover off of myself, raising the stick translucent length up to eye level and squinting at its curiosity. Tana's expression changed to alarm as she looked up anxiously past me to the empty vestibule exterior corridor at his back. Sorry. Dude! Listen, you need to get in here and Oh my god. We need to cover the doorway and get you some clothes and... Oh my god, I don't even know how. Tana's voice had picked up speed and pitch, and her eyes had gone wide, her breath coming in short huffs. I'd like those gasps when my knob was inside of her, but found that they were distressing me now. They distressed me now. Gotta blow my nose. I had missed a lot of chat. Whoa there, crazy lady, I'm touching myself. And it's not even with the shivering blue stick. This literally is a very odd form of Beauty and the Beast. So if she takes the knob off the door, does that turn it into a woman? That would be an interesting twist. Tana, it will be okay. I can protect you now, remember? I told you in your dream, and you did exactly what I asked of you. I smiled, getting used to the sensation of baring my teeth now. The act feeling far less awkward than it had in Tana's dream. She cautiously moved towards me, clutching her towel tightly around her body. while pulling her twisted one... Wow, fuck me. I can't read. Clutching her towel tightly around her body, while pulling the twisted one holding her hair off of her head. Thrusting it at me, all while looking pointedly at another direction. Here, go sit on the couch. Put that under you, over you, whatever. I'll see if I have some sweatpants or something. I took the still damp towel and walked a little woodenly over to the couch. Movement was certainly convenient, but the upright unsteadiness was off-putting. Humans certainly had a good balance. Excuse me. Tana was still looking at me like I might bite, so I sat down impatiently, hoping to put her at ease. A shaky sigh sounded down the hallway, followed by gentle taps of her bare feet headed down to her bedroom. A few minutes later, a length of cloth gently landed at my shoulder and chest from behind me. Elastic-ended pant cuffs in a soft gray fabric. Put these on, please. If we're going to talk, I don't want to do it staring at your cock. I think these will fit. My ex left them at my place. Tana's voice still strained. My chest ached to fix it. After I tugged at the sweats and unknotted the cord. Sorry, I got distracted. After I tugged on the sweats and unknotted the cord to fit them around my waist, I turned to her over the back of the couch. Tana, I'm sorry if I frightened you. I was surprised as well. But I hope you don't regret what brought me here. You must understand my only concern is protecting you. She swallowed audibly, retreating to the kitchen as she answered. I don't know. I don't believe in whatever the hell you are. But clearly I need to start. The clink of glass and metal, followed by a sharp pop, echoed over the counter. Today is definitely a mimosa day. I'm going to need like 2 even to start dealing with this. Tana, no! I vaulted over the back of the couch, nearly getting tangled in my own new human legs, and borrowed sweatpants in the process. I rushed to the kitchen, banging a hip on the counter in my hurry to knock the orange juice container out of her hand. She gasped, juice sloshing all over the counter and her fresh clothes, pinning me with an irritated glare. What the fuck, dude? I'm sorry if you don't approve of alcohol or something, but I'm off work, and who are you to judge? Panting with the effort of sprinting and dealing with my own terrified, hammering heart, I grabbed the side of Tana's arms too firmly, adjusting my grip when she winced. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to hands. Randall poisoned your juice, Tana. I genuinely don't care what you think, but please don't... genuinely don't care what you drink, but please don't drink that. Poisoned? You're crazy. I just bought this, like, 2 days ago. And the only time I left my apartment was to go to the grocery... She gasped, clapping a hand around her mouth for a second time that morning. Oh my god, that fucker. Mrs. Scrimshaw's oven wasn't broken, was it? Her features went from irritated to furious as I shook my head. She righted her clear plastic juice container from where it had fallen fallen on the counter, holding it up to the kitchen light and scowling at the bottom, some strange sediment at the bottom. Why did my brain put an extra word in there? Holding it up to the kitchen light and scowling at some strange sediment at the bottom. I swear to God, I'm going to murder him first. Don't drink the juice. I haven't had this much fun since near staring up too big. It don't let me do that anymore. An M. Night Shyamalan, yep. But as I watched, Tana's look of fury melted into terror, her nose scrunching as she fought back tears. I could have died if you didn't stop me. Again, she huffed those short little breaths that tugged at me, like someone was trying to pry me open with my lock engaged. I held open my arms gingerly. To my relief, Tana took the obvious invitation to comfort. She nuzzled her cheek against my bare chest, her fingers scrabbling around my lower back to hold herself close. I clutched her tightly, burying my nose in her damp hair, taking deep breaths of her soft floral shampoo scent. You're safe now, Tana. He can't hurt you while I'm here. I hesitantly ran my palm down Tana's back. In what hoped would be a smoothing motion, she sniffled against my skin, standing on tiptoe to look over my shoulder. But if you're here, what am I going to do about my door? I followed her gaze to the brightly lit rectangle where I'd previously spent my entire existence. Raising a brow, I nodded at the empty space. Well, there is a place where people... is there a place where people buy doors? Chapter 9. You have no words indeed, Holy Ozone. I agreed to this. But I knew kind of what I was getting into. I've listened to Gilbert Gottfried do some passages of 50 Shades. So I'm not blind. Have a good one, Sonia. We'll be here. What have I missed? I'm not a wooden door now. I'm a hard person now. Wait, this is robot? I hope I'm not robot. No beep boop beep here. Learn to set boundaries. Oh, I'm opening up the boundaries. That's what this is. That I could have said no to this. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see where this goes. Bonzi waits. Hopefully there's still no mariachi band. Is that what the word is? I can hear them partying in the background. All right. Let's continue. Excuse me. Chapter 9. Tana and I found out together that the same phone app that could be used to order food also works at hardware stores. Unsure of how... excuse me. Burps. So you have a Bonzi, a popcorn, and a muffin. Oh, we have a baby child. A demon child. He's not like a popcorn. He's a demon child. He is adopted. You can't hear them? Good. What is wrong with the little bit of seduction, as if a man is reading it out? Yep. All right, let's try this again. Tana, I found out that the Same app could be used to order food as well. It worked at hardware stores. Unsure of how my transformative magic worked, Tana refused to leave my side, afraid I'd turn back into a slab of painted oak once she was out of my sight. Shortly after, I was crouched holding one of the tiny hot pink measuring tape as Tana meticulously measured the hole to find the right replacement. At one point, the two small measuring tapes slipped out of her fingers, retracting and whacking me in my new shin. The hell? Hold on. My throat is dry. I almost let out a cough. She hissed, her warm hand covering over the front of my pant leg, apologizing. Sorry, stupid pink tax. My friend gave me this expensive women's toolkit. Stupid pink tax. Oh, okay. That went over my head for a moment. My friend gave me this expensive woman's toolkit when I was moving, and everything's so friggin' small. I frowned at the garishly pink plastic box she'd set up on the small table. A messy jumble of pink-handled things that looked like children's toy, more like children's toy than the sort of tools Randall carried. But why are they made like this? Why should you pay more for smaller, flimsy things because you're a woman? That seems silly to me. I was puzzled at the inequity of it, but the warm look Tana shot in my direction quickly lifted my mood. I wasn't sure why making such an obvious conclusion would earn me admiration, but I was no fool. I'd take it. Besides, I was glad to distract Tana with the project. We'd both quietly agreed to get a new door in place. One that couldn't be breached by Randall's master key. As Tana told me, it was called before anything else. Yeah. I'm missing something here. Ah, yes. Yes, we have a Bonzi, we have a Muffin, and we have a baby child. He is sometimes called a beached whale, but it's because we give him all kinds of names. We call him adopted as well, but we take good care of him. Alright, let's see. Even with my capable human presence in her living room, I could tell that Tana needed the psychological barrier of a locking door to feel truly safe. Finding out that Randall had breached her home only 2 days ago had given her a haunted look I was anxious to chase away. When I asked her how she wanted to proceed, she elected to get the empty door frame filled before calling the police. Eager to prove I was here to support her wishes and make her feel safe, I'd immediately agreed, ending up on the wrong side of the vicious, bloodthirsty length of pink measuring tape. I murder you with pink measuring tape. Hanging up the spare shower curtain over the door frame for momentary privacy, Tana finalized the home improvement store app order with a tap. The orange juice bottle still sat grimly on the counter, surrounded by stickly drops of juice from where I jostled it out of Tana's hands. Evidence. While I longed to clean it up and remove any trace of Randall from her apartment, I begrudgingly agreed to leave it alone until the police could be summoned. The home improvement store delivery sent a text that they'd be an hour late, so Tana suggested we'd watch a movie while we waited. It was an actively Yeah, it was an activity familiar to both of us for different reasons, but I was all too happy to repeat the experience. That said, I'd spent so long wishing I could be human for Tana that I wasn't sure what to do now with my wish had been granted. Human life was proving to be confusing and awkward, while being a door had been fairly straightforward. Just as I was overthinking things, however, Tana leaned into me as the movie started, hiding an exhausted yawn as her cheek rested on my shoulder. I hesitatingly draped an arm across the couch behind her, letting her curl in deep with a barely audible sigh of comfort. So, what should I call you then, door guy? His name's Woody. Yours, I thought before the question really sank in. Right, a name. Humans had those. I didn't. I'm not sure. I suppose you can't really call me a door around others. I glanced at the TV, where the opening credits for a superhero movie were flashing across the screen. She'd watched this one before, and I noticed she'd watched this one of... Sorry. I noticed she watched one of the actors with a sparkle in her eye last time. She even giggled to a friend over the phone about how hot he was. It's Captain America, isn't it? A magazine on the coffee table showed the same actor in all his bare-chested, mahogany brown glory, smoldering at the camera. The character had been a gatekeeper of sorts, and while I was a bit jealous he'd caught Tana's eye, I could begrudgingly admire our shared purpose. How about Drys? Dries? D-R-Y-S, Drys. I like the sound of that. A little different than the actor Idris. Driss. Okay. But still elegant sounding. A sibilant whisper like my draft catcher sliding across the carpet. Tana nodded sleepily, cuddling up even closer with a soft, pleasant sound of a scent. Okay. Driss it is. Starting to get... Sorry, Slanesh, but no, I'm more focused on trying to follow the justification of the wording and not screw up the pronunciation. This is smooth area, unfortunately. But thank you for the thoughts. Can be Professor Woodrow... What? Professor Woodrow Woodenbottom III. Hey, Alan Jones. Welcome to Porn Night. You missed out earlier, Alan. You're gonna have to go back and replay it if you want to get the good stuff. I gave in to an impulse to stroke Hannah's hair soothingly again, and found I liked it so much I kept doing it. Soon, she was relaxed into deep sleep against me. I took the rare opportunity to watch her doze up close. She was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen, and if I'd ever been in love with her before, I was entirely smitten now. I was admiring the way her delicate eyelashes curled against her cheek when a soft "Hello?" issued from behind the makeshift shower curtain behind the couch. Carefully sliding away from Tana and pulling her head to rest on a throw pillow, I made my way to the door, pulling the curtain back to reveal a delivery man in a light blue uniform, brandishing a clipboard and pen. "Hello, sir. Are you Mr. Vent?" I have a delivery here for Tana Vent. I nodded after a moment, setting aside the warm emotions at being mistaken for her husband. I reached out for an offered pen and clipboard, subtly leaning on the door frame as I mentally struggled with staying upright. Humans were so floppy. I'd really have to work on getting used to this. I scribbled lazily on the line the delivery man pointed to, having learned from TV shows that performances and... What the fuck? Oh, confidence. That's a word. They split it with a justification. Performances and confidence meant far more than legibility when it came to signatures. Again, justifications throw me off constantly. Tapping the pen on the clipboard with a satisfied nod, the man used the pen to point over his shoulder at a huge cardboard-wrapped rectangle resting on the opposite wall. After the delivery man left, I considered the package with mixed feelings. No one wanted to be replaced, after all, and here I was staring right away at my replacement. No one I'd encouraged. Oh, I read that wrong. Here I was staring at my replacement, one that I'd encouraged, no less. I'd proudly been Tana's door for a long time, but the time was right to transition into being something more. Her protector, her guardian, my mind wandered into her lustful flashes of memory, and the way her cunt had squeezed around my knob, the stick stretch glide of impalement she packed into me with a moan. In my throat sweat my human cock with interest, ready for repeat performance. I gently squeezed it, willing it to calm down, determined to get things ready while she rested, enjoyed a well-deserved rest. I just visualized Scary Movie 3, where Charlie Sheen is trying to slap away his boner. Scary Movie 3 is probably the best in the whole series. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's damn good. It's got Leslie Nielsen in it as well. Bunch of people. Ja Rule. Good times. That is it's into that chapter. I think we need to call it a night here. My brain is not reading well tonight. But we're at chapter 10. Doesn't look like there's many chapters left. But yeah, that I think is a good place to end it. We had some heated adventures for sure. I need to go back and read what I've missed. Here's what you missed. The crazy lady masturbated to the door, and it being a door stood there. So does that make it a cuck door frame? Yes. I'm blushing, my phone's blushing, my doors are blushing, sweet Jesus. Oh, lotions and tissue type shit. Okay, hold up here. I was talking with Hutaru about this trope. It must have been earlier this month or last month. Okay. The trope is, guy gets bottle of lotion, grabs tissues or toilet paper, and goes into bedroom and proceeds to masturbate. Do you know how easy tissues and toilet paper tear apart? Why? Why? That's not fucking practical. I'm getting technical, I'm getting nerdy, but why are you using fucking tissues? You get something more pliable, like fucking wipes or something, wet rag. I don't fucking care. But tissues? Why is that the easy trope that is used to illustrate masturbation? It never fucking makes any sense. It never made sense when I was younger, old enough to understand what was happening. Oh, he's taking tissues. I understood it, but it made no sense. I have to get certain puffs because when I use like regular tissues to blow my nose, the shit just disintegrates. Why would you use that to clean up after masturbation? I don't fucking get it. Karis is a sock guy. It's just a question that I have. I don't expect it to be answered. Because no one wants to reincarnate into a tissue. You're jealous of my conversations. I imagine some people are. Some people are jealous. It was a good run. You appreciate. I am glad you enjoyed it. I think I know where things are going to go later on, because there's not much left to the story. Thank you, Stream Elements. I can kind of. I've seen movies. I've seen stories, rom-coms and whatnot. Excuse me. I can kind of anticipate where things are possibly going to go. Speaking of Bonzi Cam, there's a Bonzi. There's an adorable Bonzi. She waits patiently for loves. Look at that Bonzi. She's staring up at me. Oh. Oh, she came over for loves. But you have no idea where this is going. I'm not going to hint at what I think is going to happen, but just remember, there are people that are still part of this story. Such a sweet Lou. I don't know if you can hear that. Bonzi is mooing. But I hope those of you who wanted to enjoy that did enjoy that. And those of you who are horrified, this is not a normal thing. This is a new series. I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing, but I don't have shame in it. I'm curious. I don't have a lot of words for it other than this is the thing we're doing. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you all have a good night. Be safe, and I'll see you next time.